Hey guys, this is Jason Nedved with Nedved Precision Shooting. I am here with Camdyn Powers. We are at your home range.
Yes.
I traveled a lot of hours, probably
Okay,
another
here.
10 hours. Yep.
Yep.
And you were so nice to let me stay here
No
and shoot at your
problem.
range and get your
Yeah.
stuff done, or get my stuff done. And I want to talk with you
Yes.
about how you get ready for a match, because you got second in Worlds for ladies and many of other trophies, I'm sure, and a most recent a third place in open overall.
Yep.
Let's be real, it was
Yeah.
overall, so you did great there.
Thank
And you just been crushing it because you beat me by 2 impacts that time. And
you
you're
won
just slowly just getting up and up and up. So yeah, I just wanted to stop and talk to you about what you run, how you run it,
Yep.
how you get ready for a match, and even like in between when you're not on the line,
Yeah.
what you do. Because I've always seen you're always down and you're visualizing, you know,
Yes.
and I love that. And it's like, maybe that's why people don't talk to you during matches. That's probably
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
it's just you're in the zone, and I
Yeah.
kind of do the same thing, but not to the level that you're at.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about what you do, how you do it.
Absolutely. So I run a Voodoo, and it is, run a Voodoo. I love it.
Yes.
Love my Voodoo.
Yes.
And it has a 20-inch Fartline steel barrel. It is
Okay.
sitting in an XLR NV Pro chassis. I run a single pole MDT Skypod, and then I also use the spur level with the Brandt belt sundet level attachment onto it. And then for my optic, I shoot a Burris XTR Pro with the SCR2 reticle.
Yep.
And just like other gear, I use WeBad support bags. So my go-to is the Mini Fortune Cookie Wax Canvas. That's like my favorite bag of all time.
Yep.
I do not run it with any grip in the crease. I just choose not to do that.
Yep.
And then another bag that I very much rely on in matches is my Behemoth bag. So it's one I wear crossbody to have like for prone or kneeling or even
for prone
standing.
even, huh?
Yeah. I'll
Really?
use it for prone. And then I also will run a WeBad plate bag and then an Arco plate.
Okay.
And so yeah, and when it comes to match prep, I tend to run my gun clean. I know there's a lot of controversy, clean or dirty. I run it clean. I just, I lot test all my ammo through Lapua. And that's something that, I lot tested it when it was cleaner. I know that it runs good when it's clean.
So before you send the rifle, you make sure it's cleaned, and then they'll lot test it. Do you run a mag through it or anything like that, or do you just send it fresh clean?
No, I always make sure there's probably about a solid 30 rounds in it. I definitely don't want to be clean by any means, but no, definitely cleaner. I've never sent a gun to Lapua with 5,000 rounds through it.
Oh, weird.
Weird,
Okay.
I know. And yeah, when it comes to match, I have my mental process that I kind of have been working on getting refined over the course of the last few years. When I started shooting, we learned that there was a mental aspect of shooting, but I never really took it by the reins or did anything with it. I'm like, oh, that was a mental mistake, keep on moving.
Yeah.
And it was after a while when I really want to start getting serious with this sport. I was like, the only way that I can start getting better physically is by my mental game. I'm only as strong as, my mind when it comes to this stuff. And it is very mentally challenging to be in this sport.
Yeah. I know on 2-day matches and stuff like that, a lot of people will suffer on day 2 that don't have that.
Absolutely.
I want to say mental capability, but just that mental strain or focus on it.
They haven't really done like that training to prepare them for those 2 days. And, it's, when I shoot a 2-day match, I like it because it's like the challenge of, like conserving energy for the next day and not really letting down on Saturday night and, really making sure that you're ready to go on Sunday. Yeah, but when it comes to shooting a match, I think mentally it's so important to know like a little routine that you have. And so like in the mornings, well, this may sound funny, but I go to bed thinking of shooting. That's something that I do.
What do you think about though?
It is specifically...
Like, is it a stage or just you pulling the trigger or just shooting in general?
Mostly stages.
Okay.
So, like, I'll, think of a stage that I shot at a previous match, and I just go through my process, pretend that I'm running my bolt forward and down, pulling the trigger.
Do you even turn the turret? Pretend doing that as well? Yep.
Yeah, and sometimes, depending on how tired I am, I don't even make it through one stage. Like, it just knocks me out. But I spend like
so no counting sheep. It's
it's
thinking about a stage and running it.
Yep, and every time I shoot, it's always an impact because I was creating that positive reinforcement as I'm going to bed. And in the morning, I don't want to be rude, but I do not talk to people. Like, I'm definitely in my zone. I eat breakfast. I listen to, like, fun music as I'm heading out to the range. I'll talk to my dad if he's with me, or my mom, or both of them. And then we show up to the range, and it's go time. And I'm a very social person, so sometimes it's hard for me to turn off socializing, you know, before a match. But it's something I have to do, or else I will get so distracted from shooting that I just crumble. So, and then when it comes to individual stages, I never really look at the course of fire, even if I get the booklet the night before. I never really look at it until, you know, I get up to the first stage. Part of it is I've been to a match where on Friday they've told me, oh, I'm going to start on stage 7. All right. I go and I look at stage 7. I get all ready for that. I'm super stoked. Well, then they change the order the morning of. And then my brain...
So you're mentally on 7,
yes, I'm
and now
mentally
all of a sudden
on 7,
you're 2.
and now I have to make a complete 360 and shoot stage 3. And so I just don't look at the course of fire. I mean, I'll look at the target, see which one is my farthest range. I'll look at possibly the props I'm shooting off of, because I will bring, you know, a bigger bag that's really large if I'm shooting off of rocks or tree stumps. Just, you know, some objects that my, you know, go-to bag doesn't quite do great on. But besides that, I don't look at it. I don't study it. And then when I'm leaning up to a stage, I always have my Hearing Pro in. That is one thing I always wear is Hearing Pro. And they're also Bluetooth, so I can listen to music. So I always listen to music before and after stage, not during. That's too much. I can't do that.
You'll be singing, jamming out, just
right.
Thing.
But I'll be listening to my music because it just helps me. I mean, I'm trying not to be rude here, but just cut out all the noise around me. You know, if there are, you know, very boisterous people, or, you know, my friends are trying to talk to me, I'm like, listen.
Or someone's complaining about something else.
Or, if someone is complaining, right, about the target size or target distance or the wobbly prop, or you know, it just
make sense or whatever else.
It just blocks it out, and I can just think. And I have my little routine where I make sure all of my mags are loaded before I do anything else. And then I get on, like, it's mostly my knees, and it's just I can sit there and relax, and then I'll study the stage. Then I'll figure out what my targets are, and then I will figure out the distances. I'll write my dope card, and from there I have my dope card, and I go over to my gun first, and I make sure that Duke is zeroed. And I make sure that he's good to go.
Duke is the rifle.
Yeah, Duke is my rifle. I name him Duke. I make sure that, you know, his bipod is on. I make sure that everything's just ready to go. And I also make sure, like, my send-it level is on. And then I go to whatever prop I'm shooting off of with my dope card. And I will then go through the stage mentally. And that could be I'm getting down on my knees if I have to get down on my knees. I'm, you know, pretending I'm putting my rifle up there, running the bolt forward, pulling trigger, pretending to, you know, spin turrets. And the whole time I'm looking at my dope card, like, okay, yep, this is that target. All right, target 2 is that target. Target 3 is that target. And then I'm going through the stage, and I'll do that probably 2 or 3 times just to start building that muscle memory. So then when the stage starts, it's not so...
Hey, where am I going to go from here or there? Like I explained with the tank trap, you know, you want to have that plan of where you're rotating to, or on your pile of tires or wherever. You want to have that plan, and you're doing it 2-3 times to get that mental preparedness to be able just to go boom, boom, boom. So you're on the clock. Like in PA, we had those tank traps. Didn't we have like 3 tank traps or something like that? And you had to shoot certain colors off certain things.
Like the orange and then the green and then the pink. And each one you had to shoot different target order. And that one is definitely crucial. Like I made sure that the PRS finale was really mentally challenging.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that. Now that's one of the things I thought I said after that, because it was not just, okay, hit this target here. No, you had engage this one so many times, then move to here, and then engage this one a different amount of times. It wasn't just double tap this, double tap that, move. No, it was very
my whole squad was big into, like, okay, you're going to shoot these targets in, like, a backwards end, and then you're going to make, like, a box. Like, you know, it was all
I'm like, no, I'm going to shoot this one, this one, this one, this one, you know?
I'm like, okay, that's a backwards end, and this is, like, Z, or, it was...
They were just overdoing it for me there, and I'm just like, oh, gosh, no, I just need to shoot this one, and I practice with my glass. That's why my tripod's my home base, because I'm on glass, and if I'm first, I'm there doing the order, just glassing it, getting it, and I want to be right above the prop
Yep.
So then I can see it, because when we were in Yuma, the scissor lift,
Yeah.
I was on my targets. I was close to the scissor lift. I'm glassing them like, okay, right here, that you got this bush, you got that bush, right between the valley. I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I get up in the scissor lift. I didn't have the height or anything like that. That didn't freak me out. And the sway, I worked in them all the time. And I got up there. I get set on the rail. Where the heck is it? I'm zooming out, looking up off the glass, and it's all camouflaged in there. I'm like, where is this? So it was just how different it is. That's why I always try to get right next to it or behind it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a challenge for me because I'm so short that some people...
Just get in the front row.
Oh, I do.
I'll
but
just
then
look
if
right over you.
But if people... but if people get on the prop, then I can't see over them.
Oh, so that's the issue.
I always am trying to move in front of people and stuff. That's my issue is people. I can't see over.
I thought you were worried about being in front of the other tripods to see if tripods.
Oh gosh, no. I've had people come up right behind me and look over me, and it works. It's great. But yeah, and so I always physically go through it 2 or 3 times. But then, like how you said, watching with your binos, I'll come back to my binos. And I have a reticle in my binos, and so then when I get back, I will double check what the targets look like, through the glass. I'll also measure them just to kind of see what I'm working with.
So what kind of glass are you using that has the reticle?
It is Steiner.
Okay.
Steiner binos.
Yep.
And I really come to like that. I will measure... I don't know. I feel like I don't do a lot with the measurement, but at least it gives me that information. So when I know that I get...
Does it help with wind calls or anything like that? Because that's what I do for Centerfire is, if I measure the target, well, I got this much. Well, my average wind is this. And if I do this, well, if I can bracket the center of that, I should have 2 tenths on either side to catch that round. So I know people are kind of doing the same thing for rimfire too. Yeah,
I will do that. If it's crazy wind, sometimes I'll just give up because I'm like, if it's this... It'll look like this, but, right? But what's helped me is I've noticed when I measure, I'll be like, okay, I'm starting out with this amount of wind, or I'll hold over on this target. And I get to see it through reticle, through glass, before I hop on my rifle, before the stage starts. And so then when I get behind my rifle, when the timer starts, I kind of already know. I mean, it's different. It's different reticle slightly. It's different glass, but it's zoomed in. It has that same look. And so I think that has helped me as well. And if I'm holding over, then it helps me with that.
So I've seen more and more people do it, and now I do it as well when it's less stress and less crowded. So say we got the rooftop or the barrels over here.
Yep.
You're next up there, you're going to be shooting off the barrels. Do you ever have your rifle staged and get down on your rifle prone and look at the targets to make sure parallax is right, or just to see those targets visually? Do you ever do that? I've been seeing that more and more.
Actually, I agree with you. I have been seeing it more. I know when I started shooting, I feel like it was very frowned upon, and so I never did it.
Yep.
I did at the Yuma USPRA qualifier match. I did do it.
That should beat me
2 or 3. 2 points. 2 points.
Overall, we're not going to go there, but on day 2, you beat me by 2 points.
Yeah. I did it 2 or 3 times. I think it was 2 times. I don't know. I feel I know on my gun, if it's 50 yards, it's clear at 50 yards. If it's at 100, it's 100.
Yep.
So, part of it is I just know my scope really well, and so I know, what I have to dial it to for the yardage.
Because for me with rimfire, centerfire not a big deal. You just put it at 500 and you're good for the whole day. But for rimfire, your troop line going out there, I am starting to do that now. I'll lay down. I'm not on the prop. I'm just where my rifle's staged, and I don't dry fire or anything because that's my thing. But I will look at all 3 and see if I can find a parallax that's happy. So it's one less thing to worry about.
That's true.
Because with mine, some of these ranges are 35 yards, 25 yards at some places, out to 150. Well, I can't see all that.
No.
And then especially when you're going from 75 to 200,
yeah.
Well, one is going to be blurry, so I try to find a happy medium if I can, or I'll go down here and I'll visualize it, go down to, let's say, 100 yards, so then I can shoot these 3, and then I need a parallax up for the last 2.
Yeah.
So I've been starting to do that as well. So I was wondering if you do that or started thinking about it. Or...
I do that, especially if, from a 50-yard target to even a 150-yard target, there's a big parallax difference. And so I will find that happy medium Sometimes if it's I can't get my wing call, or heck, that target's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be, I will then, go away from my happy medium and go to exactly what the yardage it is.
Like those 1/4-inch targets. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm parallaxing for that. I
Yeah,
don't care
for
what.
sure, for sure. So I will do that. I would say probably 50% of the time. I will just find the happy medium, but sometimes I'm like, you know what? I have time. I mean, if it's a 90-second stage, that it gets a little dicey there. But if I have 2 minutes, I mean, last year preparing for Worlds, preparing for the PRS finale, where I knew, and the NRL finale, where those were 90 seconds or 1:45.
Yep.
I mean, that 15 seconds between 1:45 and 2 minutes, that's a lot of time.
Yep.
And so now I'm more used to a 90-second or 1:45 stage.
I always try to push for that 90 seconds, even if it's 2 minutes.
Oh, totally.
I want to be trained up for the championships and the finals, so then I'm not, I got all day, and then you're used to that rhythm.
Right.
Like we talked about, you just being prepared for that. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if it's a time crunch, I'll stick with the happy medium. If I know I have time, I'll fine-tune adjustment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know even in Yuma, those diamonds that we had set up that were going from here to here or whatever, I think we were off a barrel or something like that.
Yeah,
but I still picked up my gun and just kind of looked and just kind of went across like, hey, can I stay on the same parallax? I should be able to. But just seeing the targets, I'm not on the barricade, I'm not doing any of that, but just, I think that really helped.
Well, and even too, there, I shot that stage in a lot of Mirage. And so even if it's, say they're at 100 yards, you set your parallax to 100, I feel like with Mirage, it can kind of make it seem a little bit funny. So, I always like to double check in Mirage. Okay, are we good here? All right, let's go. And yeah, it makes it just look different.